Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour, Israel expands ground operations and strikes on Hamas infrastructure in Gaza. Egypt puts forward framework proposal to end the conflict. West condemns Iran over IAEA claims that it increased enriched uranium production. And in sports, South Africa beat India by an innings and 32 runs in the first test match in Centurion, lead the series 1-0. Let's begin with an update on Israel-Hamas conflict. Israel's military has expanded its ground offensive in central and south Gaza, targeting terror group Hamas. The Israeli army released video footage and still photographs on Thursday. It says showed ground operations and strikes on Hamas infrastructure in Gaza. Israel says it will not halt its ground-up campaign in Gaza until it annihilates the Hamas movement, which controls the enclave. Egypt confirmed on Thursday that it had put forward a framework proposal to end the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Chairman of Egypt's State Information Service in a statement said the framework, which includes 3 successive and linked stages ending with a ceasefire, was drafted after Egypt listened to the views of all the parties concerned with it. Egypt would give further details of the plan once those responses are received. A new UN report expressed concerns over the human rights situation in Gaza. DD India correspondent William Denslow reports from UN headquarters in New York.
The United Nations Palestinian Refugee Agency, UNRWA, warned Thursday that people in Gaza are grappling with catastrophic hunger. The UN agency's reiterated calls for a humanitarian ceasefire so more aid can enter the Palestinian enclave. Meanwhile, the UN's High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, says Israel's use of military tactics in the West Bank is extremely troubling. Hamas killed around 1,200 people in a surprise attack that day, and Israel says it won't end its subsequent military assault until the group is defeated. Turk also raised concerns about settler violence against Palestinian communities. He says such incidents are being recorded on average 6 times a day. An Israeli official has described the UN report as quite ridiculous and belittles the major security threats Israelis are facing. Also on Thursday, the UN Secretary-General provided his end-of-year address, and it was a bleak summary of the past 12 months. Antonio Guterres said 2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence and climate chaos. He says 2024 must be a year for restoring hope and rebuilding trust around the globe. William Denslow in New York, reporting for DD India.
In Israel, thousands of teenagers took part in a march in an effort to press the Israeli government and the international community to demand the hostages' immediate release. The young Israelis have marched from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem for the past 5 days for the release of the hostages still being held by Hamas. Many of the demonstrators were from the communities worst affected by the 7th October attacks. The Western powers on Thursday condemned Iran accelerating its production of highly enriched uranium following the IAEA report earlier this week. In a joint statement, Britain, France, Germany and the United States said that they condemn this measure that further aggravates the continued escalation of Iranian nuclear program, adding that they urge Iran to immediately reverse these steps and de-escalate its nuclear program. The spokespersons for the countries also said that Iran had increased its output of 60% enriched uranium to a rate of about 9 kilograms a month since the end of November. The statement came 2 days after the International Atomic Energy Agency released a report saying Iran increased its production of highly enriched uranium, reversing a previous output reduction from mid-2023. Let's get to updates on Ukraine-Russia crisis now. A Panama-flagged bulk carrier has been hit by a Russian mine in the Black Sea, injuring 2 crew members, the Ukrainian officials said on Thursday. The vessel, the Vyazos, was heading to River Danube port to load grain. According to Ukraine's Southern Military Command, the vessel lost course and control, and a fire broke out on the upper deck. The incident that took place on Wednesday was the latest instance of a civilian vessel hitting an explosive in the Black Sea. Ukraine says Moscow has increased attacks on Ukraine's port infrastructure since mid-July, when it quit a UN brokered deal that allowed safe passage of Ukrainian grain shipments via the Black Sea. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that he discussed Ukraine's peace formula in a call with Pope Francis on Thursday. Zelensky said that he thanked Francis for his Christmas greetings as well as his wishes for a just peace for all of us.
We discussed our joint work to put Ukraine's peace formula into action. Over 80 countries are already involved in this process at the level of their representatives, and there will be more of them.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Thursday that Ukraine's alternative Black Sea export corridor had sent out 12 million tons of cargo so far. In his nightly video address on Thursday, Ukrainian president said that the corridor had produced particularly significant results in December.
The functioning of our export corridor in Black Sea, over 12 million tons of cargo have already been handled. The result in December are particularly remarkable, and this is felt at the level of our entire economy.
Ukraine and Hungary are preparing a meeting of President Volodymyr Zelensky and Prime Minister Viktor Orban in the near future, the Ukrainian President's Office of Chief of Staff said on Thursday, amid recent steps by Hungary that have soured the ties. Earlier this month, all European Union states except Hungary agreed to start accession talks with Ukraine. The bloc's leaders bypassed Orban's opposition by getting him to leave the room when the decision was made. Chief of Staff Andriy Yermak made his remarks following a productive phone call with Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó. He added that Ukraine's progress on the path of European integration was also discussed. Orban later confirmed he had accepted an invitation to meet. After high-level meetings earlier this week between US and Mexican officials regarding the issue of migrants crossing over into the US, both US and Mexico have agreed to enact plans that will help curb the unprecedented migrant inflow. The meeting followed the visit of US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, where both the countries discussed extensively on border security challenges, including action to reopening of key ports of entry across the shared borders. Both the nations also agreed upon seeking cooperation from neighbors, including Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Haiti, in an effort to tackle the root cause of migration.
Hay más movimiento en la frontera.
The relationship with US President Joe Biden is really good. He is very respectful of Mexico. There are no threats of sanctions towards Mexico. He understands migration is a phenomena related to poverty, that this is a social problem.
Argentina's most influential workers' unions on Thursday called for a national strike next month over President Javier Milei's reforms aimed at liberalizing the country's economy. The General Confederation of Labour, that is the CGT, said that the strike on January 24th was in protest against a decree and package of bills announced by Milei, which go against all of society and give the president all public power. In a statement, the CGT, which brings together several powerful unions in the South American country, presented its fighting plan. Members, the statement said, will request meetings with lawmakers who are due to discuss the bill in extraordinary sessions scheduled through January 31st to propose amendments. Earlier, thousands of people poured into the streets of Buenos Aires and other cities across Argentina, and at least 6 people were detained during the protests. Demonstrators said these measures attempted against their basic social rights and wages. At the same time, Millet presented more measures to Congress that included reforms in tax, labor, criminal, energy and electoral matters. Congo's main observer mission reported irregularities related to last week's presidential and legislative elections that could impact election results. The independent joint vote monitoring mission of Congo's powerful Catholic Church and its Protestant Church spoke about 5,402 reports of incidents at polling stations, over 60% of which interrupted voting, while also questioning Seni Election Commission's decision to extend voting beyond December 20th. Provisional results issued so far show President Felix Tshisekedi leading the results. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres delivered his New Year address in a pre-recorded speech. In his speech, the UN chief talked about the outgoing year and its shortcomings while evoking hope for the new upcoming year.
"2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence and climate chaos. Humanity is in pain. Our planet is in peril. 2023 is the hottest year on record. People are getting crushed by growing poverty and hunger. Wars are growing in number and ferocity, and trust is in short supply. But pointing fingers and pointing guns lead nowhere. Humanity is strongest when we stand together. 2024 must be a year for rebuilding trust and restoring hope. We must come together across divides for shared solutions, for climate action, for economic opportunity and a fairer global financial system that delivers for all. Together we must stand up against the discrimination and hatred that are poisoning relations between countries and communities. And we must make sure new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, are a force for good. The United Nations will keep rallying the world for peace, sustainable development and human rights. Let us resolve to make 2024 a year of building trust and hope in all that we can accomplish together. I wish you a happy and peaceful new year.
We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Another shock to former US President Donald Trump as main polls official disqualifies him from presidential primary ballot. Venezuelan president unhappy over British warship deployment near Guyana coast, citing breach of agreement with the country. Storms in the Pacific Ocean caused massive flooding in Northern California, prompting evacuation orders in several areas.
We are taking a look at the new year, 2024, the major international political and economic scenarios that await us in 2024, and India's major challenges and opportunities in 2024 as it tries to navigate a difficult time.
How do you protect your shipping?
Yeah.
Because your oil prices will go up, insurance rates are already going up. So the question is, how do I protect my interests in the ocean? Which means you have to work with others more proactively. That means we have to coordinate more with like-minded countries. We have to work with other navies to protect, because no country can do it alone.
Correct.
So I think the need for coalitions, for partnerships, will continue to grow, including in the military domain.
As the year ends, we embark on an unforgettable ride through the core of the ever-changing global economy. In a world where markets fluctuate and economies evolve, the invisible hand shapes our reality. The Indian economy is an outlier. US and Britain get inflation in check, and China's property crisis compounds. This is one show you can't miss because it echoes 2023, these times on DD India.
From the much anticipated Chandrayaan-3 mission to the transformative impact of AI. India's radiant venture into solar exploration by ISRO. Prepare for an out-of-this-world experience with its seamless transactions. It has transformed the way Indians transact.
Watch Echoes 2023 rocketing ahead at this time on DD India.
Why are students around the world struggling with mental health issues? We tell you why on Connecting the Dots. Every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
In 2023, the world faced unprecedented climate challenges, yet positive strides were made. Join us as we unravel the significant environmental milestones globally and in India. From climate action to conservation efforts, what happened in 2023? Let's find out. At these times, only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you more international updates. In another jolt to former US President Donald Trump, Maine's top election official barred Donald Trump from the state's primary election ballot, the second state to block the former president's bid for re-election based on claims that his efforts to remain in power after the 2020 election rendered him ineligible. The Maine decision builds on the momentum that Trump's critics have claimed after the Colorado ruling. Before Colorado, several other states rejected similar efforts. Meanwhile, the Colorado Republican Party has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the unprecedented state Supreme Court ruling that removed Donald Trump from Colorado's 2024 ballot. The Colorado GOP was also a party in the case and is fighting to preserve its right to include Trump on its March primary ballot. Trump has not yet filed his appeal, which was expected soon. The appeal means the state court's pause on the ruling, which was set to expire on January 4th, will be indefinitely extended until the U.S. Supreme Court announces whether it will take up the appeal, and if it does, until it issues a final decision in the matter. Venezuelan president expressed unhappiness over the deployment of British warship Royal Navy patrol vessel HMS Trent in waters near Guyana coast. President Maduro said that this was a breach of the spirit of agreement reached between the officials of the two nations. Recently, both Guyana and Venezuela made agreement regarding the border dispute over the oil-rich Essequibo territory. Earlier this month, Maduro had said that he would authorize oil exploration in the Essequibo region. Now, this is a 62,000 square mile border territory around the Essequibo River, mostly jungle, with massive oil and gas reserves and generally recognized as part of Guyana. Though Venezuela has the world's largest crude reserves and also has massive deposits of natural gas, its production has fallen significantly, prompting it to revive claim over the said territory. European Union flags were flown and half-mast outside the European Commission headquarters on Thursday to pay tribute to former European Commission President Jacques Delors in Brussels. Delors died at the age of 98. He was the founding father of the European Union's single currency project. As president of the European Commission from 1985 to 1995, Delors helped build the border-free single market, paved the way to the common currency, and oversaw the expansion of the European Union from 10 to 15 countries. The former activist of a Hong Kong pre-independence group has formally applied for political asylum in the United Kingdom. He was sentenced in 2021 to prison under national security law imposed by China. Tony Chung is the former leader of Hong Kong pro-independence group Student Localism that dissolved in 2020 before the security law came into effect. Chung was convicted of calling for Hong Kong's secession under a tough security law. He finished his sentence in June. Shang is one of the several pro-democracy protesters who have fled Hong Kong in recent years. Let's get you weather updates now. United Kingdom's Meteorological Office is forecasting more heavy rains to come this weekend after two rare supercell thunderstorms hit northwest England. Meteorologists predict the strong winds will continue, as well as snow, but not as heavy as was expected earlier in the week. DD India's Stuart Smith reports from London.
Police were dealing with a major incident on Thursday after Storm Gerrit damaged around 100 properties in Greater Manchester, shortly before another supercell thunderstorm hit a different part of England hours later. Supercell thunderstorms act like mini tornadoes, tearing roofs off homes and uprooting trees. There was huge travel disruption across the nation throughout the week, with the transport network already stretched as people travelled to see friends and family during the Christmas holidays. Fallen trees, power cuts, flooding, landslides and consequent travel disruption brought Scotland to a halt, with power only expected to return to some homes on Friday. International flights and ferry services have been cancelled or severely delayed from airports and seaports across the UK. Stuart Smith in London reporting for DD India.
Australia is bracing for an intense heat wave across its north and west during New Year's holiday weekend, with temperatures forecast to touch more than 45 degrees Celsius. According to the Weather Bureau, parts of Queensland, the Northern Territory and Western Australia are expected to face extreme to severe heat wave conditions from Friday. But in the east, thunderstorms are expected to redevelop from Friday across eastern Queensland and northeast New South Wales, continuing into the new year. Australia's December to February summer is under the influence of the El Nino phenomenon, which usually brings above average daytime temperatures and can cause weather extremes ranging from wildfires to tropical cyclones and prolonged droughts. Budapest grapples with rare December floods as the Danube breaches banks, hitting a 10-year high of 6.93 meters. While causing minimal damage, experts caution more about frequent early floods linked to climate change. The community responds actively, with workers constructing ramps and deploying mobile dams. Hungary's General Directorate for Water Management reports Danube's peak at 6.93 meters, below the 2013 record of 8.91 meters during extreme flooding. Massive waves battered the coast of California on Thursday. Storms in the Pacific Ocean ripped up coast wells that led to flooding, and evacuation orders were in place in several areas in Northern California. The National Weather Service warned these conditions are deadly and worse is yet to come. Year-end holidaymakers across China were bracing for possible transport disruptions after the Weather Bureau on Friday warned that heavy fog and haze would shroud areas from Hebei province in the north to southern Shanghai for the next 24 hours. The Central Meteorological Observatory issued its first red alert for fog since 2017. Conditions were expected to improve from Saturday evening, when a cold wave of air is expected to blow over the country. Dense fog is predicted in parts of Hebei, Shandong, Anhui, Jiangsu and Shanghai, leading to low visibility of less than 200 meters and less than 50 meters in some areas. And back home, a thick layer of smog continues to cover almost all of North India, according to the Indian Meteorological Department, while there is dense fog in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Uttar Pradesh, West Rajasthan, whereas moderate fog covers Delhi and surrounding areas. A red alert has been issued for dense fog in Punjab, Delhi and Haryana today, while an orange alert has been issued in these states for December 30th. In the national capital, Delhi, many flights have been delayed due to fog, which has resulted in low visibility in Delhi and surrounding areas. The Met Department has predicted dense to very dense fog conditions in many parts of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi till December 30th. The US military's secretive X-37B robot space plane blasted off from Florida on Thursday night on its 7th mission, the first launched atop a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket capable of delivering it to a higher orbit than ever before. The Falcon Heavy, composed of 3 rocket cores strapped together, rode off its launch from NASA's Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral in a spectacular nighttime liftoff carried live on a SpaceX webcast. Following the X-37B's launch, the Falcon's side boosters returned safely to Earth. The launch was originally set for December 11th, but citing an issue with ground equipment, the company called off the liftoff about 30 minutes before the scheduled time, extending the wait by 17 days. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. A Venezuelan migrant had to surrender his family dog to adoptants as he attempted to continue his journey into the United States. U.S. immigration authorities asked Ruiz to abandon the dog or to surrender her dog to the dog compound. But he made a plea in local media to find an adoptive family for his dog. With New Year's Day just around the corner, thousands of volunteers gathered at Decorators Village in California to assist in decorating dozens of floats for the annual Rose Parade. Over 10,000 hours have been spent to prepare for the event involving delivery of millions of flowers. This year's Rose Parade theme is celebrating the world through music. Dressed in military uniform and wearing sashes, dozens of revelers known as Els Inferinats staged a mock messy coup in the small Spanish town of Ibi, hurling flour and eggs during the annual festival. The day, marked as the Day of the Holy Innocents, kicks off with Els Inferinats taking over the mayor's office and establishing absurd laws as they confront La Obsesio. This is done with an explosion of flour and eggs. People who break the laws are fined in real money, which is then given to charity. Hundreds of homeless people in La Paz received free showers, food, clothes, haircuts and toys at an evangelical church on Thursday through a project called Good Samaritan. The church volunteers helped prepare food, sort through clothes and toy donations. The project seeks to bring hope to people who have lost it all. The Thinker, a renowned sculpture by French artist Auguste Rodin, has been reborn in Chile to address future AI questions. Locals approached the statue to ask questions such as climate change, effect on the weather. The creators of the statue aim to bring AI closer to people by destigmatizing its use. The metal statue is 3.2 meters tall and weighs 250 kilograms. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, in St. Petersburg, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar engages in crucial meetings during his second leg of Russia visit. Stay with us to know the details. Amid full swing preparations, India's Prime Minister to visit Ayodhya on December 30th to inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects. Celebrating rich history and culture of Kutch, the globally acclaimed Ran Utsav in Gujarat is attracting thousands of tourists worldwide.
We are taking a look at the new year, 2024, the major international political and economic scenarios that await us in 2024, and India's major challenges and opportunities in 2024 as it tries to navigate a difficult time.
How do you protect your shipping?
Yeah.
Because your oil prices will go up, insurance rates are already going up. So the question is, how do I protect my interest in the ocean? Which means you have to work with others more proactively. That means we have to coordinate more with like-minded countries. We have to work with other navies to protect, because no country can do it alone.
Correct.
So I think the need for coalitions, for partnerships, will continue to grow, including in the military domain.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now a quick recap of the top stories once again. Israel expands ground operations and strikes on Hamas infrastructure in Gaza. Egypt puts forward framework proposal to end the conflict. West condemns Iran over IAEA claims that it increased enriched uranium production. And in sports, South Africa beat India by an innings and 32 runs in the first test match in Centurion, lead the series 1-0. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar interacted with Governor of St. Petersburg, Alexander Beglov, in Moscow on Thursday. During his meeting, Jaishankar extended support to promote economic cooperation and people-to-people exchanges between India and Russia. Earlier on Thursday, the minister also interacted with prominent Indologists in St. Petersburg State University. He appreciated the initiatives and ideas proposed by the Indologists to deepen cooperation between the two countries. During the roundtable discussion with Indologists, Dr. S. Jaishankar talked about the time-tested India-Russian relations.
Interest today is particularly pertinent, it's particularly important because in today's world, a country like India and one like Russia, we are constantly trying to refresh our relationship, to deepen it, to find new linkages and common points.
The Court of Appeal of Qatar has commuted the death sentence of 8 Indians in the Dahra Global case. While the detailed judgment is awaited, the Indian Ministry of External Affairs is in touch with the family and legal team on the matter. India said it will continue to extend all consular and legal assistance and will also continue to take up the matter with the Qatari authorities. Imagine being offered a monthly wage of 1.25 lakh rupees. Yes, you heard it right. North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh's government has unveiled an opportunity that promises precisely this, but with a catch. The work location is Israel. The government has initiated an urgent call for construction workers to fill positions in building construction projects located in Israel. In previous discussions, India and Israel had mutually consented to facilitate the employment of 42,000 Indian people in Israel, with 34,000 earmarked for construction roles. Aiming to bring lasting peace in India's northeastern state of Assam, the central and the state government are set to finally sign the long elusive peace accord with a major faction of one of the biggest separatist groups of the region, the United Liberation Front of Assam. The signing of the tripartite agreement with the pro-talks faction will be held in the presence of Home Minister Amit Shah and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. The move will partially bring down the curtains on the saga of militancy. Preparations are in full swing for consecration ceremony of Lord Ram in the pilgrim city of Ayodhya. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Ayodhya on Saturday. During his visit, Prime Minister will inaugurate the redeveloped Ayodhya railway station and flag off new Amrit Bharat trains and Vande Bharat trains. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the newly built Ayodhya airport, and after that, he will also dedicate several other railway projects to the nation. Now, these include projects worth about 11,100 crore for development of Ayodhya and its surrounding areas, and projects worth about 4,600 crore rupees related to other projects across Uttar Pradesh. Also, offline and online booking for obtaining Aarti Pass has already begun at Ayodhya Ram Temple. Currently, only 30 people are allowed to attend Aarti with the pass. This number could be increased as per the number of devotees. The pass for the Aarti can be obtained by producing government-issued ID cards. Ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival on December 30th, the North Indian pilgrim city of Ayodhya is being decked up as a bride for the inauguration of the Ayodhya Dham Junction and the international airport. Now, both of these will be operational from New Year to handle the influx of tourists and pilgrims alike, who will gather in millions to witness the consecration ceremony of the Ram Temple on 22nd January. With excitement soaring high, the workers and teams involved in beautifying the holy city of Ayodhya in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh have sped up their efforts to give the finishing touches ahead of the grand event. the consecration ceremony of Ram Temple that will be held on 22nd January. Here, a team of painters is busy finishing the side walls of the highway near the international airport that will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday. The paintings depict various incidents of Lord Ram's journey, mainly his return to Ayodhya after defeating Ravan along with his family and friends on Pushpak Viman, which was specially sent for this journey by King of the Gods, Indra. Nearing its completion, the Ram Temple is readying up for the grand ceremony to be held on January 22nd. Up next are a few pictures giving a glimpse of the overall structure of the temple, while workers are already busy giving the final touches. With the entire world awaiting in excitement for the grand consecration ceremony of the Ram Temple in the pilgrim city of Ayodhya in the state of Uttar Pradesh, Geeta Press Gorakhpur, a famous religious publication house, is readying 10,000 copies of the special edition Ayodhya Darshan to be gifted on the occasion along with Prasar to all the guests and invitees. The edition will exhibit details about Lord Ram through colourful pictures. Devotees will get to know the spiritual importance of Ayodhya through the edition. Also, the 1972 Lord Ram Special Edition is revamped with more pictures to help a layman get better understanding of Ayodhya and Lord Ram. The international airport at the holy city of Ayodhya is getting ready for its inauguration scheduled on December 30th. The architecture of the airport, located in North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, has been planned in such a way as to showcase the confluence of modernity and tradition in line with the life journey of Lord Ram described in the holy scripture of Ramayana. This will be one of its kind airport which will give a glimpse of Lord Ram's life and incidents to the tourists and pilgrims through its design and artwork. The airport, which is going to be a gateway to the world's largest pilgrim center, will start operations from New Year. In a display of empowerment and capacity, women artists of Pilgrim City of Ayodhya are busy giving finishing touches to the pillars and polishing other structures of the Ram Temple, which is in the final stage of completion as it is nearing the consecration ceremony day scheduled on 22nd January. The temple, whose inauguration and consecration is one of the most awaited events of the century or perhaps the millennia, having sentimental and religious connections to the beliefs of millions of people of India, will finally be a reality in 2024. As the second edition of Kashi Tamil Sangamam is underway in the North Indian city of Varanasi, the 7th batch of Kashi Tamil Sangamam has arrived in the city. The main aim of the Kashi Tamil Sangamam is to bring the cultural traditions of North and South India closer, to enhance the understanding of the country's shared heritage and to strengthen the relationship between people of these regions. India's Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is a journey being undertaken across the country. The aim is to attain saturation of flagship schemes of the government by ensuring the benefits of these schemes reach all the targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra has reached Fatehpur in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. Minister of State Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti distributed enrollment certificate to beneficiaries of several government schemes. The yatra was welcomed with tremendous enthusiasm and active participation from local communities. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra has emerged as a dynamic tool as it continues to traverse various parts of the districts and disseminate essential information on central government schemes. Up next, we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. Rehearsals for India's Republic Day parade are underway at New Delhi's Kartavya Path. The parade, held every year on January 26th, is the main attraction for India's Republic Day. Gallant soldiers are practicing amidst cold winter and dense fog conditions for the final day display of the parade. The Ran Utsav, presently underway in West India's Gandhinagar, is attracting thousands of tourists both nationally and internationally. The village-themed decoration is acquainting tourists with the rich history and culture of Kutch. The Kutch region, particularly the Ranotsav, has generated global acclaim, rejuvenating the economy of Kutch. India's Gujarat and its government is set to start a submarine service in the ancient city of Dwarka, submerged in Arabian Sea. Through this submarine, Dwarka can be seen from 300 feet below. Also, Gujarat Tourism Minister on Wednesday signed an MOU under the Pre-Vibrant Committee, in which MOU for a submarine near Dwarka was also signed. A youth from North India, Srinagar, has turned his small courtyard into a hydroponic farm that grows fresh vegetables. The method involves growing plants without soil. The man converted a part of his courtyard into a hydroponic farm with guidance from Jammu and Kashmir government's Agriculture Department. With his newfound knowledge in hydroponics, the man grows a wide variety of vegetables, most of which are ready for harvest in just 45 days. A leopard strayed into residential areas in India's Maharashtra on Thursday and was rescued after about 5 hours. After receiving an alert, the local police, forest officials, fire brigade and members of Rescue Charitable Trust launched an operation to tranquilize the big cat. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour, the last trading day of 2023 opened in India amid mixed global cues. Our tribute to the Brazilian soccer legend Pelé on his first death anniversary. And we will bring you a recap of the year gone by in cricket in 2023. Stay with us for this roundup.
As the year ends, we embark on an unforgettable ride through the core of the ever-changing global economy. In a world where markets fluctuate and economies evolve, the invisible hand shapes our reality. The Indian economy is an outlier. US and Britain get inflation in check, and China's property crisis compounds. This is one show you can't miss because it echoes 2023, these times on DD India. As the year ends, we embark on an unforgettable ride through the core of the ever-changing global economy. In a world where markets fluctuate and economies evolve, the invisible hand shapes our reality. The Indian economy is an outlier. US and Britain get inflation in check, and China's property crisis compounds. This is one show you can't miss because it echoes 2023, these times on DD India.
From the much-anticipated Chandrayaan-3 mission to the transformative impact of AI, India's radiant venture into solar exploration by ISRO. Prepare for an out-of-this-world experience with its seamless transactions. It has transformed the way Indians transact.
Watch Echoes 2023 rocketing ahead at this time on DD India.
Why are students around the world struggling with mental health issues? We tell you why on Connecting the Dots every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. Let's get you updates from the world of business now. The last trading day of 2023 opened amidst mixed global cues. Shares in the Asia-Pacific region are trading mostly in the mixed territory on Friday morning. Meanwhile, traders continue to remain positive about the US Fed starting cutting rates in 2024. The Asian markets are trading mostly higher, while the US stocks ended mixed overnight. Sensex opened 180 points lower at 72,221.85, while Nifty opened 56 points down at 21,722.6. DD India correspondent Ajay Mishra joins us with more. Ajay, December 29th marks the last working day for the markets. Let us get a sense from you as to how do we expect the day to be for the investors and the markets together.
Good morning, Preeti. I think 2023 has been terrific for Indian stock market. As far as today's trade is concerned, we expect a uptick move in the stock market. But December, the month has been very fantastic for the Nifty and Sensex because it has gained almost 7% in just 1 month. If you see the track record of calendar year 2023, the Indian stock market have gained by 18%. The Nifty 50 and Sensex has surged by over 20%. Whereas if you compare it with the emerging markets like Shanghai and Hong Kong market, they are not even at par with the other emerging markets. The Indian markets are clearly the bright spot at this point in time because there are strong fundamentals which are working at this point in time, and that's why the investors, both from the foreign portfolio as well as from the domestic investors class, everyone seems very positive and excited about the prospects about the Indian stock market, and that's why it is one of the most active market at this point, and also giving returns to the investors. So we understand that going forward, the strong fundamentals along with the strong sectoral performance of financial and banking sector, along with the infrastructure push which the government is focusing, is going to yield great results for the investors, and that's why we are seeing this great momentum where the Sensex and Nifty are creating fresh time highs each passing day, especially in the month of December.
All right, Ajay, now since it's the last day today, this prompts me to ask you about the evaluation of the year that will be gone by for the markets, because we've seen 2023 was marked by geopolitical challenges and also how that had a bearing on the markets as well. In spite of that, you are talking of India being the bright spot for the world. What has led to this resilience for the Indian economy? Let us hear more from you on these two questions.
So, Preeti, if you see that 2023 has seen the biggest financial crisis after Great Depression in the US, where most of the most powerful banks have failed in US. That is very pertaining to understand at this point in time that on one side, if you are seeing that rising inflation and rising interest rate has been the flavor of the whole calendar year 2023. There was a tremendous pressure on the US economy in the beginning of the year. Going forward, now the Federal Reserve have started showing signs of some kind of recovery in the US market, and they are indicating that there might be some pause in the year 2024 going forward. And that's why there is a positive sentiment in the US market about the prospects of US economy. But throughout the year, there was a great negative sentiment about the US economy itself. If you see the Eurozone, Germany, the largest economy in the Eurozone, have shrunk almost for the 2 quarters. You see the UK economy, the economy went to the negative territory, which is not a good news for the Europe per se. Emerging markets, I think Shanghai Composite have done better than these European markets and US markets. But India, being the fundamentally very strong, and it was surprising for the investors and the world to see the GDP numbers 7.8 in Q1, 7.6 in Q2. It was a great surprise for the investors that the government is giving a great push for the capex, the capital expenditure, and a great investment in the infrastructure. So look at the defense stocks, look at the infrastructure stocks. They have performed very well. Whereas the US companies, US economy is pushing Indian IT stocks in a positive territory and greater heights. The government push here at the domestic level is pushing all the infrastructure and related stocks, real estate stocks are burgeoning. So, I think the most important and striking point is, Preeti, that the domestic institutional investors have surpassed the investment from the foreign institutional investors since last 3 consecutive years. That's very positive that the Indian investors have now faith in Indian market. We are not dependent on the foreign FIIs and FPIs to actually hold the market. It is the domestic investors which are supporting the market, looking at the prospects going forward that India is going to be the bright spot in this time of poly crisis, as we say, and it is going to be the most promising, fastest growing large economy that gives a promise of a stable government, stable policies on the economic front, and obviously a good stable returns for the investors as well.
All right, Ajay, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in with that analysis. And from here, we now turn focus to sports. We'll talk of cricket first. South Africa beat India by an innings and 32 runs at Centurion during the first test. Also getting you more details on that. South Africa bowled out India on a paltry 131 runs in the second innings, handing them the innings defeat. Nandri Berger claimed 4 wickets as Protea's pace attack ran through the Indian batting. Virat Kohli was the sole player to get past the 50 mark as the entire lineup bundled out cheaply. Marco Jansen took 3 wickets while Rabada took 2. Brazilian soccer legend Pelé, regarded as one of the all-time greats, passed away 1 year ago on December 29th. Born with the ball at his feet, Pelé's every movement, every pass, every goal was special. He impressed the fans with his agility, technique and love for the game. Pelé won 3 World Cup tournaments with Brazil and scored 1,283 goals in his professional career. Here's a tribute to the football legend on his first death anniversary.
Pelé, one of the most iconic sportsmen in history, passed away 1 year ago on December 29, 2022 from cancer at the age of 82. He won 3 World Cup tournaments with Brazil and 10 league titles with Santos, his club team. He also won 1977 North American Soccer League Championship with the New York Cosmos. Having come out of retirement at 34, he spent 3 seasons with the Cosmos on a crusade to popularize soccer in the United States. In his 21-year career, Pelé scored 1,283 goals in 1,367 professional matches, including 77 goals for the Brazilian national team. Many of those goals became legendary, but Pelé's influence on the sport went well beyond scoring. He helped create and promote the beautiful game, a style that valued clever ball control, inventive pinpoint passing, and a voracious appetite for attacking. Pelé not only played it better than anyone, he also championed it around the world. Among his athletic assets was a remarkable center of gravity. Like other sports, soccer has evolved. Today, many of its stars can execute acrobatic shots or rapid-fire passing sequences. But in his day, Pelé's playmaking and scoring skills were stunning. After retiring from playing, Pelé became an ambassador for the sport, touring the global meeting Nelson Mandela, Bill Clinton and soccer legends including Diego Maradona, Johan Cruyff and Franz Beckenbauer.
A lot of headline-grabbing events happened in the world of cricket in the year 2023. From West Indies failing to qualify for the World Cup for the first time to India's heartbreak in the showpiece event. Take a look at this roundup in the field of cricket.
Year 2023 can best be described as a tectonic year with radical changes for women's cricket in India. The year that started with the inaugural T20 World Cup in South Africa ended with 2 back-to-back tests, and the inaugural edition of Women's Premier League in India put women on the centre stage in world cricket. More audience per match, more eyeballs on the women's game and more new faces followed. After that watershed moment, the bilateral series took over. In the Women's Ashes series, the one-off test saw the result after 8 years when Australia defeated England. The boards and other stakeholders are now understanding the value of standing behind the women's game. Moving to the men's world of cricket, India, high on that big win in the Asia Cup, won 10 matches on the trot in the World Cup they hosted, but were unable to make it count in the final that mattered most in the Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium. It started with the World Test Championship and World Cup final, Australia on both occasions getting the better of India in white and colour clothing. Pat Cummins leading the Aussies to victory from the brink of exit is the standout performance of the year. England failed to defend the World Cup but managed to salvage pride bouncing back from 0-2 to 2-2 in the Ashes series. Asian neighbours Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Afghanistan played well in patches but were not consistent in the year. West Indies caused the biggest surprise by failing to qualify for the World Cup for the first time. New Zealand once again continued to shine, and though they failed to reach the final in the World Cup, the Kane Williamson-led team walk into 2024 with hope and faith to bounce back stronger. Cricketainment or IPL in India saw Chennai get the better of Gujarat in the final. MS Dhoni-led team got the better of Hardik Pandya-led team in the final for their 5th crown. The year 2024 has the T20 World Cup being played in the US and West Indies island. Cricket getting an Olympic debut has pushed uncharted territories open for the sport, and expanding horizons is just the right beginning for the gentleman's game.
All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.